All right, I'm going to do my best Alex Trebek. Yes, the answer, Republican Senator John McCain, signing on to a Democratic bill that would require digital platforms such as Facebook and Google to publicly disclose advertisements purchased during election season, this in an effort to fight fake news. But critics say this bill would be too much government regulation on the internet. But let's ask the experts. Tammy Bruce is back with us, along with Danielle McLaughlin, liberal commentator and an associate at Nixon Peabody LLP, and Vince Colonnese, editorial director of The Daily Caller. Vince, I'll start with you. Is this a move in the right direction? I mean, obviously, we may ultimately need some sort of bipartisan way to fight back against fake news. Is this it?
This is a solution in search of a problem. Let's think about how we got here. $100,000 in advertising supposedly bought by Russians on Facebook. The lion's share of it doesn't even appear until after the election. By the way, that advertising, not political advertising at all. It was about social issues. It was about gay rights. It was about immigration. There were all sorts of things that didn't have anything to do with candidates. And now they're talking about election advertising. This is a solution in search of a problem. If you're going to come up with a solution here, identify what the issue is, right. And they haven't done that. I
mean, Vince is being polite, Daniel. Let's face it, it's another excuse, right? This is just another excuse for why the Democrats lost, instead of just saying it was a lousy campaign with a lousy candidate and they made mistakes. They're still trying to rewrite the victory in the history books. It's ridiculous. Shouldn't we be moving forward?
I don't see any reason why there shouldn't be bipartisan support for this bill. Print ads, political ads, as well as TV ads are regulated in this way. Why shouldn't social media ads be regulated in this way? Over 2/3 of Americans get much of their news from social media, and the way media is going, that's only going to increase. So why shouldn't we have the same rules for new media that we have for traditional media?
Tammy, though, the narrative, though, is that $100,000 in Russian ads, and to Vince's point, much of it spent after the election, somehow tilted the American electoral process. The founders must be sitting up in their graves like, golly, how come we couldn't figure that one out?
This is really, it's not about the election at all. This has actually been an effort, and people believe this is the beginning of a new effort to completely regulate the internet, like utility. Remember that became up as an issue. An FCC commissioner was saying, we've got to make you have to register or get a license if you're going to make political commentary, because the system and the establishment, and liberals should be concerned about this as well, they don't want this town hall to exist. The moment you put regulations on there, and one part of this bill is that anyone who spends $500, you're going to have to release their information, who is it, what they wanted, who they're targeting. For television, a huge difference is the cost. You're looking at larger actors making a difference on television. The internet allows regular people to engage.
Sure, but one thing I will say is that this bill suggests that only platforms that have more than 50 million viewers or subscribers would be held to this. So this is a mom and pop.
But that's the platform. But what about the individuals who make up the platform?
The person who would buy an ad on Facebook, the regular person. So this is why we're concerned. And I think that when you're dealing with nobody trusts the government and what the system wants to do, and this is one of the reasons. They don't like the fact that we can have these conversations, and it's already illegal for foreign governments to try to influence an election. This is false. What they're
By the way, threatening to pass legislation to regulate political speech on the internet is compelling these giant companies like Google and Facebook to already seek out means to censor people on their own platforms. They're going to approach this thing with a nuclear bomb when a hammer would suffice. And I think ultimately that the threat of legislation is making the media companies that are responsible for the lion's share of all communication worldwide nervous about the types of speech that is happening. This is a bad moment. I think we should be on guard.
Yeah, and I think also we should be concerned about the First Amendment. The FCC even this week saying, listen, there are limits to what we'll do even to stop fake news on major media. I mean, there's a certain point where the viewer has to be able to make up his or her mind also, I think.
I just think this legislation is about helping viewers understand what's real and what's fake.
That's paternal. We shouldn't do that. I think viewers are smart enough to figure it out, and that's the real issue here.
The government will make it worse. We know that.
We better be careful of Orwellian answers, that's for sure. Thank you all very much.